What's up guys, my name is Chris. Welcome back to the Sasser house. In today's video, we are going to be going over the top 10 essential tools for successful furniture flipping. And I don't want to spoil anything, but number 10 is a tool that I just learned about in the past year, and it is by far the most important tool if you're trying to flip furniture for a big profit. I've been flipping furniture for a little over 9 years now, and I have learned all through the years what tools that you need and what you really don't need. So I'm gonna save you guys time and money today if you're interested in learning how to flip furniture, especially for a profit. Keep watching this video. I'm gonna show you guys all the tools that you're gonna need. All right, so to get started, the first and one of the most important tools for furniture flipping is obviously, you guessed it, the paintbrush. Paintbrushes are super important. You don't want to buy a really cheap paintbrush. I have learned over the years that if you skimp out and pay for a really cheap paintbrush, you're gonna end up just dealing with all kinds of struggles, like these little bristles will end up breaking off of the cheaper brushes much easier, and you'll be peeling those out of your paint on your finished product, and it is just a headache and something that you don't want to deal with. It also is much easier with a high quality paintbrush to get a nice smooth coat of paint on your furniture. So I highly recommend going with a little bit more expensive. I mean, I'm not talking expensive, but still a $20 brush versus a $5 brush is gonna make a huge difference. And if you wash and clean your brushes really well as soon as you're done painting a project, these will last a really long time and get you through a lot of projects. So it's not very expensive. I'm using currently the Worcester Pro, which is a really good paintbrush. Putty also makes a really good brand. Just don't go buy those little cheap $1, $2, even $5 paintbrushes that you see at your hardware stores. Now, there is a place for those really cheap little paintbrushes. So they make these little foam paintbrushes. You've probably seen these at the art sections in your craft stores, but they also sell these at like a Home Depot or Lowe's as well. They make the little kinds with bristles, and those are throwaway brushes. They're like 98 cents. I prefer the foam because again, you don't get those little bristles in your finished product or in the paint. But these brushes are really, really good to deal with like oil-based primer. So a lot of times when I'm priming a piece of furniture, I will use a throwaway brush. That way I just use it, get everything nice and primed, and then I end up throwing these brushes away. It saves me time for cleaning. And that oil-based product is a lot harder to clean out of your nice paintbrushes, so I prefer not to use oil-based paints and primers and stuff like that with my nice paintbrush, just to keep that nice and clean and last for a long time. For tool number 2, you're going to need one of these miniature foam paint rollers. These things are so handy and they will help you paint furniture so much faster and get a much smoother and more professional finish on your furniture. So the only reason I'm not saying to get this instead of a paintbrush is because you really need both of them. You could paint furniture and only use a paintbrush and get a fine product and be perfectly happy with what you're doing. You can't really use the foam roller and not a paintbrush because it's hard to get that foam roller in all of the little nooks and crannies and the detail on a piece of furniture. But for the flat surfaces, the foam roller goes so much faster than just a paintbrush by hand. It will save you a lot of time. It gets you a nice, smooth finish. And these are super cheap and affordable. You can wash them and reuse the little foam rollers. And then for the primer, it also can be thrown away because they are so cheap. So again, I love a paintbrush. I like using a paintbrush for all of the detail parts of a dresser. And then the miniature foam rollers I like to use for all of the flat surfaces. This saves so much time. All right, before we move on from the painting topic, I do have a bonus tool to throw in for you. It's totally not essential, but I wanted to throw this in and just give it a mention. Let me go grab it. Actually, Graco just sent me this brand new paint sprayer, which I'm so excited to get it out and try this paint sprayer out. I've used paint sprayers, several different kinds through the years, and paint sprayers are literally game changers when it comes to furniture flipping. That's why I'm not gonna include them in the essential list because I have flipped furniture for years not using a paint sprayer. And a lot of times I'm just too lazy to get a paint sprayer out. If it's just one piece of furniture, I can almost do it just as fast with the paintbrush and that foam roller. But paint sprayers are awesome. And again, not essential, but if you have the budget and you're really into furniture flipping and you want to maybe turn this from just a little side hustle, side hobby into more of a career, highly recommend a paint sprayer. There's a statistic on here that talks about how fast you can paint compared to paintbrush. Let me see if I can find that. Let's see. Okay, there it is. So the paint sprayer claims that this is 5 times faster than a paint roller and 12 times faster than a paintbrush. So you can see if that is true, this is definitely a tool that will help save you lots of time and ultimately lots of money when furniture flipping. So I recommend a paint sprayer. I'll go ahead and link this down below as well, but not essential necessarily. But I thought I would share this just so you guys would know that is another option for painting. Next up, tool number 3 is an Orbital Sander. I use the Ryobi brand, and I actually have a corded Ryobi Orbital Sander and a cordless battery-powered Ryobi Orbital Sander. These tools are really important. They're great for sanding down wood to the bare wood if you're wanting to stain a piece of furniture or a top, kind of like the piece of furniture that I'm sitting on. You really want one of these. You can use furniture stripper or a scraper to get rid of that old stain, but an Orbital Sander will save you so much time, and it is by far the fastest and easiest way to get something down to the bare wood. Obviously, I have both of these, and I do use both of these. I would recommend the corded over the battery powered, and that is simply just because these have a lot more power, so they sand the wood down so much faster than if you have just a battery powered, but both of them will work. I promise you, if you have never done furniture flipping before, an Orbital Sander will be a tool that you use on pretty much every single piece of furniture that you flip. Moving on down the list, tool number 4 is a screwdriver. A screwdriver is an essential tool. It is one of the first tools that you will actually grab when you're doing a piece of furniture. I always use a screwdriver to remove the handles on any dresser or really any piece of furniture that I'm getting started on. So you will definitely need a screwdriver. I highly recommend one of these little screwdrivers that have the reversible tips. These come in really handy. They work with pretty much any flathead or Phillips head screws. You have the large bit, which you can turn around for flathead or for Phillips, and then it has a smaller bit as well if you have a smaller screw head that you need to use. You can totally get by with just using a handheld screwdriver. If you're just doing basic furniture flipping stuff and you're not building anything to go with a piece of furniture like a custom wood top or a custom wooden base, but if you are gonna do any of that custom work, or maybe you just want to go a little bit faster, you can always use an impact gun, screw gun, or a drill. I love an impact gun or a drill. These will save you a lot of time, even when it comes to just removing the hardware. They just work a lot faster. And once you start getting used to flipping furniture, you're gonna end up wanting to do some more custom things to it, like adding a custom wood top, or maybe adding those custom feet onto the base of a dresser. And you're probably gonna want to update the handles and the knobs on a piece of furniture at some point, which you'll probably need a drill to drill out some new holes for different size knobs and handles. I do recommend a drill or an impact gun, but you can totally get by with just a screwdriver. Tool number 5 is a very important tool for furniture flippers. And when I say furniture flippers, I'm just meaning the people who are actually trying to take a piece of furniture, flip it for a profit, and sell it to somebody else for more money. If you're just trying to restore or refinish a piece of furniture for yourself, this one's not as essential and probably not needed at all. But what we're gonna talk about for tool number 5 is staging walls. I've got a couple staging walls here in my shed behind me, and this has looked different throughout the years. I'll try to pop some pictures up on the screen, but like in our old previous townhouse, I didn't have this big shed that I work out of, and I just built a little board and batten wall against our garage wall and threw some rugs down, and that's where I staged my pieces of furniture. Now in this shed, I have 2 different staging walls. One is this white beadboard, and then the other is this wooden paneling that looks kind of like a wooden shiplap or something like that. But it gives me 2 different options to stage pieces in front of. That way, if I have a white piece of furniture or a light colored piece of furniture, they don't always look as good in front of this white wall, so I'll throw those in front of the stained wall. But this is a really important tool to have if you're trying to flip furniture, because pictures really help a piece of furniture sell. The difference in a staged piece of furniture versus one that's just taken in your dirty garage or outside in your lawn will sell so much better if it's staged, if it has a good looking backdrop behind it, if it has decor on the tops of the dressers, if it's got rugs or flooring underneath it. I could definitely upgrade my staging walls and my staging setup, but it is an essential tool if you're trying to flip furniture to at least have something to help you stage your pieces and make them look the best that they can be. And moving right along, tool number 6 is a putty knife. This is one of the cheapest tools that will be on the list today, and there are multiple options. One is the metal option. It's just a flat piece of metal with a handle on it. And then of course you have these plastic options, which are super cheap. I think you can get a set of 3 of them for just a couple dollars. A putty knife is a super simple tool. And of course you will need putty to use with this. I do think this is a very essential tool, and that's why I included it on this list. You will end up using some putties when you are furniture flipping. I like this rock hard putty, or even this all-purpose Bondo, which you've probably seen people use and love. If you're flipping furniture for any time at all, you will most likely start using some of this wood filler, and you will need a putty knife to fill up any scratches and dings and dents in your furniture before you're sanding and before you start priming and painting. This will give you a nice smooth coat, and it helps really just get rid of all blemishes on a piece of old used furniture. You also will probably use wood filler for things like filling up old hardware holes. A lot of times I'll have a piece of furniture that will have 2 holes because it had a handle on a drawer, and I would prefer the look of the dresser to have just 1 hole and a knob. So I'll end up filling those 2 holes and then re-drilling a single hole for a knob. And in order to fill those, I will use one of these putties and of course a putty knife. Tool number 7 is another really cheap and simple tool that you probably would just overthink, and you may have lying around your house already, but it is very important for furniture flipping, and that would be the blue painter's tape. Painter's tape has multiple uses in furniture flipping. Like I was just mentioning, filling the old handle pull holes. If you just push the wood filler into those holes, it'll end up coming out the back and falling into the drawer and making a mess, and it will also just continuously shrink, and you'll have to keep doing it. So I always take some blue painter's tape and tape the back side of those holes. That way when you push the wood filler into those holes, it hits the tape and it just fills up that hole nicely. Another way I use blue painter's tape is of course just taping off edges of your drawers to get nice clean lines. And then if you ever stain a top of a dresser and you want to paint the body of the dresser, go ahead and tape off any of those lines where you don't want your paint to be, which is very obvious. That is what painter's tape is for. I'm sure there's a bunch of other ways that I'm not thinking of that you will use painter's tape. I use it all the time. And so it's a very important tool to just have lying around when you're in the middle of a furniture flip. Tool number 8 is the furniture dolly. This will help save your back and help you transport heavy furniture in and out of your garage or your shed or wherever you happen to be flipping furniture. It also will help you when you go to pick up the furniture and when you drop off or meet your customer. A good furniture dolly is very important, and all furniture flippers need it. They make a few different kinds, and I recommend getting all of them. They're not very expensive. They make these types of furniture dollies which just sit flat on the ground like this. And of course you just take your piece of furniture, make sure it's sitting on those flat, and you've got a way to roll it around. Sometimes you'll notice that I have a little bit of paint on these. Sometimes when I'm in the middle of refinishing a piece of furniture, if I know that I'm gonna have to move it around a lot, I will go ahead and just put the furniture on these rolling dollies and refinish it on these dollies. It also elevates it off the ground a little bit just to make it a little better for your back so you're not constantly bent over as far. So these kind of furniture dollies are really important, and I highly recommend them. But a hand truck dolly is even more valuable when it comes to furniture flipping. A lot of times, I live in Middle Tennessee. We moved away from our home in Knoxville, and a lot of my friends and family are not here to help me go pick up furniture. So if I find a set of furniture on Facebook or at a thrift store that I want to go buy, it's kind of up to me. And Emily will be working sometimes, and even when she's not, no offense to my wife, she's great at many things, but she is not a heavy lifter. So it's kind of up to me to pick up and carry and load my furniture into my truck by myself. So I'm able to do that with this hand truck. I can take a full-size dresser or chest of drawers just like that, put this right underneath it, lean it back, and roll this straight up to my truck. Then I will lean it against the edge of my truck and just slide it into the truck bed. These dollies make it possible for me to move around heavy furniture without having to actually pick anything up really. And it will definitely save my back through the years, and it makes my life a lot easier. If you're planning to do a lot of furniture flipping, I highly recommend getting some furniture dollies. Here's a little bonus tool that I'm gonna throw in here and recommend. Definitely not essential, but it's kind of on the same topic. This is a little rolling stool that I use in my shed all the time when I'm working on furniture. This will save your back. Instead of constantly being bent over like this, painting and using that roller, working on a dresser, these little rolling stools allow you to sit upright and have much better posture, and it will save your back. So I really recommend these as well. For tool number 9, I would classify this as an essential tool for furniture flipping, even though I have not used this for that long and I regret it. This is a very important tool and I can't stress it enough. I wish that I would have been smarter in my younger years and earlier on in furniture flipping. I did not think this was as big of a deal as it really is. These tools for number 9 are safety tools. That is including a respirator or a mask. This is so important when you are sanding down the varnish or the paint on these really old pieces of furniture, or even new ones for that matter. It is just not good to be breathing in all of those chemicals from those stains and those varnishes and those paints, especially the older ones. You don't need to breathe that stuff in, and the dust flies everywhere. These respirators are great. I didn't like wearing a mask at first, but the respirators are great because they allow you to actually breathe while you are still working. So respirator is the first part of number 9, or tool number 9. And then the second part are safety goggles or safety glasses. I do try to wear these when I'm sanding because little dust particles and stuff can fly around. These are even more important as you start moving on into more advanced furniture flipping stuff like building custom tops and custom bases and stuff like that. When you're painting, you really don't have to be wearing safety glasses or anything like that, but there are for sure things that you may be doing with woodworking or with furniture flipping where you definitely need to be wearing some safety glasses. Just do what's right, be smart about it, and protect yourself, protect your eyes, protect your lungs. I really wish that I would have done this stuff sooner. Like I said, I've been doing this furniture flipping for 9 years now, and I will for sure be doing all of these safety things and using these tools from here on out. Okay, and finally, tool number 10, which probably should be number 1, because I do think that this is the most important tool when it comes to flipping furniture if you're wanting to make a profit with it. This is really gonna surprise a lot of you and probably make a few of you mad because a lot of you are not going to take this advice and use this tool. But tool number 10, and the most important tool for furniture flipping in my opinion, is a tripod. I know what you guys are thinking. You're like, Chris, I don't wanna make content. I don't want to film myself. I don't wanna talk to cameras like you are doing right now. And to be completely honest with you, that's why I didn't do this for the first 8 years of my furniture flipping career. I'm honestly a shy person. I don't like talking to a camera. I do like filming the transformation of a piece and being able to look back at it and stuff like that. And so I'm totally out of my comfort zone and out of my element when it comes to talking to a camera. And I'm slowly growing and learning how to do this and being more and more comfortable with it. But I have to tell you guys why I think that this is the most important part of doing furniture if you're trying to do this for a business, or you're trying to make money at it and make some profit. Because I've seen it over the past year completely change my furniture flipping career as far as how much money you can actually make with this. I'm not saying that if you start videoing yourself flipping furniture, you're gonna start getting thousands and thousands of views and make lots and lots of money, because there has been plenty of videos that I have posted about furniture flipping or flipping a piece of furniture that have gotten hardly any views and have made $0. So I do have other reasons why I think that the tripod and filming yourself do furniture is also very important. So first I'm gonna share that reason, which I think that even if you don't end up sharing it and you don't make money and you don't get any views and you're not a content creator with your furniture flipping, even if all of that is true, I think it is really important to just document and record your progress as a furniture flipper. And I think even just trying to film content, for me at least, it has made me and forced me to be a better furniture flipper altogether. It's made me say, you know, I wonder what people might think is cool when it comes to furniture flipping. Instead of just painting every piece of furniture white or black, throwing some new handles on it and posting it on Facebook Marketplace, sure, that will probably help you sell a lot of furniture. But honestly, like, I would have never gotten into building these custom feet on dressers, building these custom modern tops on dressers. It makes you and forces you to try out new things. And then, like I said, it is really, really cool and motivating to be able to look back at past pieces of furniture that you've done and not just have a picture from where you posted it, but it's almost like a miniature scrapbook where you're able to look back at all that you've done and honestly how much better you've gotten at furniture flipping since when you first started. So I really recommend recording yourself, even if it's just a time lapse and you're not planning on posting it, that is totally fine. But now I'm gonna whip out my computer and I wanna show you guys why I'm so passionate about this and why I think that you should start sharing. Because I am, again, just a shy person. I'm not great at this. I appreciate you guys for being here and watching this video, but I want to encourage you. I'm not trying to brag by showing you these numbers. I want to encourage you guys that if I can do this, you guys can do it too. And it really is not as hard as you think. There's just not many people out there doing it. I'm gonna get my computer out and show you guys exactly why I think that this is the most important tool that you could possibly have. Don't think that I'm out here trying to brag and say like I'm making all this money, because I'm really not. I'm still brand new to this content creation thing. I'm not getting that many views. And I think that that's what's so encouraging and why I want to share it, because you don't need these millions and millions and millions of views to completely change your career as far as furniture flipping if you're trying to do this for a profit. So I want to show this now. This is a video I did about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and this video has done really well for me. It's gotten 33.5 thousand views on YouTube. And this was me flipping a black dresser. If you guys didn't see this video, I'll go ahead and link it up above so you guys can actually use that as a reference of what my content looks like on a normal basis for furniture. And I was actually reviewing Dixie Belle paint. So that video was something to the effect of "the best paint ever" was the title for furniture flippers. And the part that I want you guys to really see here was, you know, I filmed this video. It was 16 minutes worth of a video, and it probably was an hour worth of footage total. So it's not like you have to video the entire process of furniture flipping. Just set up a time lapse, you know, do an intro or outro, or even just do a voiceover. Do a time lapse and voice it over and just share what you're doing. But this video in 2 weeks has 33,000 views, and that has made me an estimated revenue of $295.48 so far, which is amazing. Like I said, that's not my regular. I would love for that to be every piece of furniture and every video that I post here on YouTube, but it's just not at this time. But I think that this shows the potential, and it gets me really excited for myself and for you guys. So I'm gonna click over here to revenue. It's already almost made $300 in the first 2 weeks. And if I scroll through here, I would say like the average day is making about, I don't know, probably $15 on average, somewhere in the $15 to $20 range per day that this video is making. And the really cool thing about YouTube is this video, and ultimately this dresser that I flipped, could potentially keep making $15 to $20 a day for who knows how long. I mean, it could be for the next 6 months, it could be for the next year. And that is the power of YouTube and sharing this content online. As long as you guys and the people on YouTube continue to watch it, I could continue getting paid $15 to $20 per day for that one dresser that I flipped. And so that dresser in that video, if you guys watched that, I bought that dresser for $30. Dixie Belle actually sponsored the video and gave me free product. They didn't pay, but they gave me free product, which I'm super grateful for. And so my costs were $30 on that dresser. I ended up selling that dresser for $400, which is an amazing flip in and of itself. That's like $370 profit, which is amazing. But by sharing content and taking a couple extra hours to make this video, I've already made almost that amount of money in just YouTube revenue. Plus it's gonna continue to make $10 to $15 to $20 a day, hopefully over the next, hopefully a year or even longer. I do want to go show you guys, and again, this is not to brag, I'm just trying to show this point to you guys. I'm also going to throw up on the screen right now my TikTok analytics and share with you guys how much TikTok paid me for this same content. So that same dresser, I did a video on TikTok, and as you can see right here, it has made over $100 here on TikTok, $111 to this point. Again, about 2 weeks it's been on the platform. and it still makes a couple dollars every single day, which is super exciting as well. And so all together, that means that in the first 2 weeks after selling this dresser, I have made $406 just through social media sharing this furniture flip, which is more than flipping that dresser actually made me in the first place. It takes my profit from $370 for that dresser flip all the way to over $775, and it is still gonna keep growing, like I said, as that video continues to get views for hopefully years and years to come, as long as you guys keep supporting us here. So again, I'm not trying to brag. I'm hopefully encouraging you guys that you should share this content too. I am not that great at this stuff. I'm not great at talking to the camera. It makes me uncomfortable, but I do have a passion for flipping furniture. I think that's something that I am pretty good at, and I know a lot of you guys are too. And if you're watching this video and you're trying to turn this into a full-time job and a business and make the most money possible, I love sharing this with you and being honest with the money and showing you guys this is how it's possible. I was able to quit my full-time job after doing furniture as a side hobby for 9 years at this point. I just quit my full-time job about 3 months ago because of YouTube and TikTok and social media making it possible. It's a lot of work to flip enough pieces of furniture, making $300 per piece to make a full-time income. But when you're able to double and triple and sometimes even more than that, the amount of money you made off of one piece of furniture because you chose to set up a tripod and video it, that is game-changing for furniture flipping. So I hope that this has encouraged a few of you guys to give it a try for yourself. It's really not as hard as you think it may be. And if you guys are interested, maybe I'll make some more videos on YouTube and filming yourself doing furniture and this kind of stuff, what I use later on. So let me know down in the comments if that's something you guys want to see more of. I'm gonna link all of the tools that we mentioned today in this video down below in the description. If you guys think that I missed one of the essential tools for furniture flipping, go ahead and comment that as well and let me know. We just wanna share with everybody who's watching what tools that they may need and where they can find them. So check out that link down in the description. That helps out our page as well. Thank you guys again for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope this has encouraged you guys to get out there and start flipping furniture. We will see you guys on the next one.